everything you need to know to visit Banff, Canada's #1 national park. I'll be joined by the curious Princess on this adventure. And Princess, what do you want to do here in Banff?
I want to find Elsa!
That's right, because it looks just like from Frozen, and every shot in this video we're going to shoot in a different place so you can see Banff as you learn about it. All right, let's go.
Let's go!
The first thing you need to know is just some general information about Banff. And let's start with the founding of this national park. It started in the 1880s when 3 railway workers discovered natural hot springs in the area, and eventually Banff National Park was born. Now, this park really has some amazing, breathtaking vistas. Think snow-capped mountains with forests, turquoise lakes, all with glaciers out and around. Banff is really a nature lover's paradise. In the summer, you'll find great hiking, biking, canoeing, kayaking. In the winter, you'll find snow sports like skiing and snowboarding. Now, what really makes the landscape unique is that while many canyons in North America were developed by erosion, the canyon here was actually developed by glaciation. That's the active movement of glaciers. Now, one of the things I really like about Banff is that it's home to a wide variety of hotels and lodging accommodations, and not just the low-end ones, but some really nice ones. There's a couple of really ultra-luxurious Fairmonts that we'll talk about when we get to the hotel section. And really, don't just take my word for it that this place is great. US News and World Report has named this the #1 place to visit in all of Canada. The second thing to know is some information to help you get oriented to Banff. And the first thing you should know is that Banff National Park is really big, like 6,000 square miles big, but there's also a couple other national parks of Yoho and of Jasper that are right adjacent to it that many people visit when they visit the region. Now, Banff National Park has a main canyon that runs through it. Canmore is often the gateway city that people visit on their way in to Banff, usually from Calgary, but we'll talk more about that on getting in. Then the next big town is Banff Town, or the Banff Town site. It is like a manufactured town for tourism. Anything a tourist would need, you will find there. Many of the major shuttles that go around Banff originate and end at the Banff Town Center. The next town north is Lake Louise. Lake Louise has a village and a lake. We'll talk more about the lake later, but in the village you'll find restaurants, shops, hotels, and a great visitor center, as you will in the Banff Town Center before. Now, from Lake Louise, you've got a choice to continue north on the Icefields Parkway. That is one of the most scenic drives in Canada. That'll bring you up to the glaciers that you can tour and up to Jasper National Park. And then from Lake Louise, if instead you went to the west on Canada's Highway 1, the Trans-Canada Highway, that'll take you to Yoho National Park, the home of Emerald Lake. And if you keep going an hour's drive from Lake Louise, that'll take you to Golden, home of the new Golden Sky Bridge. And if you watch my travel guides regularly, you'll know I always recommend picking up paper maps in addition to your digital maps. The visitor centers are the best place to do those. In addition to the main ones in Banff Town and Lake Louise Town, you will also find a great visitor center in Canmore that can help you out. That's actually where we bought our pass to get into Banff, and there's also a visitor center in Yoho. And of course, Jasper up in the north. The third thing to know is about getting into Banff. And if you want to fly here, the closest airport is Calgary International Airport, located a 90-minute drive away. Plenty of rental cars you can pick up there, or if you don't want to do that, there are plenty of shuttle companies that will offer shuttles and buses to bring you from Calgary to Banff. If you're combining a visit to Banff with a visit to Jasper National Park, you might also consider flying into or out of Edmonton, as that's the closest airport up there. Now, if you're driving in from the USA, the closest border point is around Glacier National Park. That'll take you 4 hours from the US-Canadian border to get up here. If you're driving in from Vancouver, allocate most of a day, 10, 12 hours. What about the train? You know what? Even though it's kind of like the Canadian Pacific Railway that really built this area, train no longer a great option to get here. Except one, the Rocky Mountaineer. There is this luxurious land train that's more like a land cruise that takes 2 days to get from Vancouver to here and costs over $3,000. But if you're looking for like the modern Orient Express, that is absolutely an option. What about the Canadian National Rail? Via Rail, that will take you to Jasper near Edmonton. That's the route that it goes, but it no longer goes through Banff. And finally, let's talk about tickets. Since this is a national park, you do have to pay admission to get in. There are like booths at like every entrance to the national park along the highway that you can buy your park tickets. Although if you already have your tickets ahead of time, you don't need to wait in line at the park entrance. You can just drive on the side. How do you get your tickets ahead of time? You can buy them at the visitor centers. We picked them up at the visitor center in Canmore before we got to Banff. You can also buy your tickets online and have them mailed to you. And if you're here for more than 6-7 days, then you might consider getting an annual pass, because at that point it's more worth it. The daily rate to get in for a carload is a little more than $20. But yeah, the unique thing about this national park and tickets is there aren't really like gates or arms, or like you can just drive by the ticket gates. It's kind of an honor system that they enforce the park passes, but you do need to display it in your car when you're parked at the parking lots. Now, one exception to this honor system is if you're going to be driving the Icefields Parkway, you will actually have to stop and show your ticket or pass going through that gate. The fourth thing to know is about getting around Banff, and the way that most people getting around, frankly, is by driving. This park is so huge that using your car is going to be one of the best ways to get around, though do be aware in the summertime many parking lots do fill up early. In fact, they say the Lake Louise parking lot fills up before sunrise. How do you get to some of those popular attractions? Banff does operate some shuttle services, one in town that'll take you around the town, other shuttles that'll take you further away to places like Lake Louise, Moraine Lake. If you want to get on those shuttles, you do have to book them ahead of time for a specific time, so do that well in advance of your trip. Now, if you are driving, then one of the best drives is the Icefields Parkway. It's been named by National Geographic one of 20 must drives in a lifetime. It goes from Lake Louise all the way to Jasper. It's a couple hundred kilometers. If you drove it straight, it would take 4 hours, but you should definitely not drive it straight. If you're gonna do it, allocate a whole day, because there's so many places to stop and take a look at. That is where I'm standing right now. It's just one of the neat scenic viewpoints on the Icefields Parkway. On the Icefields Parkway is also where you'll find the Columbia Icefield adventure, the glacier tour that we'll talk about later. Finally, do be aware of the speed limits. Quite slow, like you'll find 50 kilometers an hour as the speed limit in many sections. So if you're used to driving in some place like Arizona where the speed limit is 75 miles per hour, you'll be driving a third of the speed on many of the roads here in and around Banff. The other thing you won't find along the Icefields Parkway is gas or fuel. So if you need fuel for your car, make sure you fuel up before you leave Lake Louise or before you leave Jasper. The one exception is that seasonally at the Saskatchewan River crossing, there is a gas station there, only open in summer, but if I were you, I'd fuel up before, because the gas is going to be cheaper rather than in the middle of nowhere. But what you will find nicely is there's actually a lot of restrooms along the trail. On all of the signs for the trailheads or the viewpoints, if there are toilets, you'll see signs. I mean, they won't have running water, but they're pit toilets, and they'll certainly work in a pinch. So now if you are doing the Icefields Parkway, because there is no cell phone service on the whole drive, and by the way, when they say no cell phone service, they don't just mean kind of or maybe, or if you hold your phone and stand on 1 foot that you'll get some. There is no cell phone service at all, which means that you should either download offline maps if you're driving, Google Maps, Apple Maps. If you're hiking, all trails, you should probably have an idea of the trails you're gonna go to. Otherwise, you might find yourself looking and just finding the really worn out sign that says trail, hoping to find it. The visitor centers are pretty helpful. They can give you the paper maps of the whole Icefields Parkway that has the major trails on it, but then they're not going to have the detailed maps of each trail. In a pinch, if you didn't, the trailheads do have maps of that specific trail, which is mostly what we've been doing, is stopping and being like, oh, this one looks interesting. Shall we go on it? Or does it look like we'll get eaten by a bear? So now getting around the town of Banff itself, a little different than the rest of the national park. If you're parking in the town of Banff, pretty much everything is gonna cost you money if you're around the downtown area. They got these machines that you pay to park. You enter your license plate number, and then you pick how long you wanna park. Turns out parking can be pretty expensive. If we just park for 1 hour, $6, 2 hours, $18, 3 hours, $21. Interesting setup of rates, but there you go. No, it's not very cheap to park in Banff, but pay so you don't get a ticket. If you don't want to use a machine that works, you can actually pay online too. You go to paytoparkbanff.ca. There's also parking in parking garages. If you park in the garages, make sure your vehicle doesn't go over the height limit, because I've heard of many that couldn't go into park because their vehicles were too big. Now, when it's busy in a busy weekend, they actually close off the main street in Banff, so you can just walk around it. It's a pedestrian street. That's pretty cool. There are also buses that you can take around Banff, like public city buses. You don't need to reserve those like the shuttles that you do to Lake Louise. They're like tickets that are good for all day. And you know, when this street's closed off, you can also dance in front of it, just like this. What do you think of the Curious Princess dance? Do you like it? If you do, definitely give this video a thumbs up. The town site itself is quite walkable. Bike riding is also pretty popular. Tons of people biking around here. And if you somehow got to the Banff town without a rental car, like you took a bus or shuttle or something to get here, then you will find the major rental car companies like Hertz and Avis operating rental cars in Banff. Oh, and a bit surprisingly, for what I would consider a town in the middle of nowhere, you will also find taxis to help get you around. The fifth thing to know is about the weather and when to go. And definitely the most popular time to go to Banff is the summertime, mid-June, July, and August. Why is that? Well, because this is a really seasonal place, and most of the summer activities tend to not open until mid-June. I'm here in May, and you can see there is still quite a bit of snow around. The second most popular time to come is going to be fall, so think September and October. Snow can start as early as September, but generally it doesn't stick around all that much, and usually the trails are in pretty good conditions in fall. If you want to do a lot of skiing and snowboarding, then absolutely come in winter. The time that you roll the dice is if you come in the spring, which is April or May. That's the time we came here, and the good part about it is the hotel rooms are cheaper because less people come, but the dice that you throw is that there can be snowfall as late as May, and many of the trails have not thawed out yet. So the experience that we've had is that like some trails are completely fine, other trails are completely snowy, and other trails are somewhere in the middle where they're just kind of like wet and things like that. So we can't hike all of the trails because not all of them are open, but we did save a lot of money by coming in May, so that worked out well for us. And then a question of how long should you stay? I think if you really want to soak in everything around Banff, you want to do Banff, you want to do Lake Louise, you want to do the glacier walk, which is where I am right now, I would suggest at least 5 days in and around the park. There's that much stuff to do. If you're connecting it to Jasper, you're connecting it to Calgary, probably even more. If you want to see what we did in 8 days in the region, then you can check out our full vlog of this trip. I'll have a link in the description and at the end of this video. So now if you're coming in the winter or spring and you're going to be doing some trails that are icy or snowy, they can be quite slippery, so you'll want to bring your spikes for your shoes. If you don't have any, you can pick some up at the sporting goods stores around here, but these are going to be essential to make sure you don't slip. These I picked up from REI back in the States, and they're well worth their weight in gold here. One addition on when to go about what to wear. So even if you're coming in the summer and you think it's warm, chances are it might not be. This place gets like all 4 seasons in the span of a week. When we were here, we needed shorts and t-shirts one day and we needed winter parkas the next. So be prepared for any weather condition. Oh, and of course, I say this as a California boy that's used to like shorts and short sleeves every day. I mean, if you're coming here from Winnipeg, then maybe it's short sleeves and t-shirts every day for you when you're here. Okay, the sixth thing to know is about where to stay. And the great thing about Banff is there are tons of hotels in the national park. From camping, 14 different campgrounds if you want to camp, though you do have to reserve them ahead of time, to amazing hotels like the one behind me, the Fairmont Lake Louise. This is right on this lake. It is an amazing chateau, castle-looking hotel. We spent 3 nights here. We'll have a full review on it coming out soon. Princess, how do you like this hotel?
It's a fun hotel, fun hotel, fun hotel, fun hotel, fun hotel.
It is definitely a fun hotel. Some other places you might consider staying. You might consider staying in Canmore, the gateway town into Banff. We stayed at the Malcolm Hotel. Full review on that coming out soon too. We also stayed up on the Icefield Parkway. There's a few hotels that are up that way if you want to get away from the tourists. Glacier View Lodge, we stayed right next to the Columbia Icefield Adventure. Or finally, if you want to stay at the quintessential hotel in Banff, then stay at the Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel. I will say that is one where, like, if price is no object, stay there because it can get pretty expensive. but it is the classic castle in the Rockies. Full reviews on all those hotels coming soon, but the last thing you should know about hotels is book them early because they do book up quickly. We booked about 6 or 7 months out to get some reasonable rates. When we were looking like a week before for this Fairmont Lake Louise, the rates had tripled from what we booked 7 months ago. Hey, so here at Bow Falls, I ran the fellow explorer Nishant from the Travel Channel in the North Canada, and
Yes.
What tip do you have for people coming to Banff?
For me, I think the number one tip would be that instead of just exploring the hotels, which could be actually too expensive in Banff, we usually try to get campings from Parks Canada. Our favorite camp, I think it's the authentic one. Like, it has a feel of a hotel where you get like a dining table and everything, a fire pit and all. But I think the cost is around $120, $130, which is like much affordable as compared to the hotels, which may cost you around $300, $400, $500 per night. So I think that would be number one tip. But yeah, for that, you'll have to book the camps in January for the entire season. And usually the entire season, all of the weekends, they get booked within 2 to 5 minutes.
Wow, 2 to 5 minutes.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
All right.
and that is why we had to book a weekday because we didn't get any of the weekends.
All right, well, that's a great tip. Hey, and if you want to check out their channel, I'll put a link in the description below. Thank you very
so
much.
much.
Pleasure to meet you.
Same here.
The seventh thing to know is about what to eat. And the good news is that there's actually a lot of great restaurants and options here in Banff. Now, we certainly couldn't eat at all of them in our time here making this video, but these are the places we ate at in about a week. Now, a classic meal to have in Banff, if I can call it a meal, is afternoon tea. Afternoon tea at the Fairmont Banff Springs and the Fairmont Lake Louise is quite famous and actually books out quite early. So if you want afternoon tea at either of these hotels, definitely make sure you reserve it in advance. We had the afternoon tea at the Fairmont Lake Louise, and it's in this dining room that looks right out on the lake. Really beautiful. The food was actually pretty good for afternoon tea. Usually afternoon tea, I find the sandwich and desserts to be a little bit subpar, but these finger sandwiches, particularly the chicken salad sandwich, was really quite good. Tea's high quality and just a really nice couple hours to spend there. You know, do you want to waste your hiking time or your skiing time on that? I don't know, that's up to you. But for me, if it was a rainy day and the weather was miserable and you didn't want to go out or your legs are sore from hiking the day before, afternoon tea is a great way to recover. Oh, but if you do want to do it, they're really popular. Make sure you make a reservation in advance. For some classic Canadian treats, either a snack or a dessert, get yourself a beaver tail. They've got 2 locations in the Banff town and 1 location in Canmore. What is beaver tail? It is freshly fried bread or dough with some different toppings you can get on it. This one here is the classic. It's got cinnamon and sugar. You can get it with Nutella, banana, a whole bunch of things. The best part about it, each one is fried up fresh. How is that, Princess? Curious Princess approved. Now, one of the restaurants that was recommended to me in Banff the most by my fellow explorers is the Grizzly House. This place is really dark inside, but what they specialize in is they specialize in fondue, and you get a complete set that includes an appetizer. We're starting with the French onion soup and traditional Swiss style. So what I consider the main courses here now, that is the hot rock fondue. They give you some garlic butter to put on top. And then I got the steak and lobster. OC Girl got the steak and scallops. We put this on the hot rock. 1 minute for medium rare. 2 minutes for well done. Smells good already. And then when these are done, here in front of each diner is a set of sauces. There's 5 different sauces to dip each one in. Some are spicy, some are sweet. Reminds me of kind of like Korean barbecue where you get all the different sauces next to it. This is a really unique way of eating. In Lake Louise, a cute little restaurant is Bill Pato's Cafe. It's inside like a little hostel, maybe 20 seats. One of the things they're most famous for is their elk burger. I have added cheese and bacon, and it comes with fries by default, but you can upgrade them to gravy fries. That's right, the poutine for an extra $5. OC Girl was pretty excited to get the fettuccine with smoked salmon. And the Curious Princess, she's got the mac and cheese kids meal with the juice box. Princess, how is it?
Yummy.
Another solid option in Lake Louise for dining is the Station Restaurant. This restaurant is in a former train station. It's an old log cabin train station, but one of the things that's really neat is if you come in the high season in summer, you can actually dine inside one of the train cars. One of the things they specialize in is things with bison, so think bison burgers, bison ribs, and bison lasagna. Now, if you're looking for something to eat in Canmore, one that I can definitely recommend is the Rocky Mountain Flatbread Company. They specialize in pizzas, as I call them, and they cook them in a wood-burning pizza oven. They've got artisan pizzas and what I'd call more normal pizzas. You can build your own. We got the all-meats pizza, and then we got one of their artisan pizzas. They're like small or large size. The large maybe feeds 3, the small maybe feeds 1. So we got those for a table of 4, which was pretty good. The princess, she really enjoyed her kids' marinara pasta. Another great spot for lunch or dinner in Canmore is Tank 310. This is a restaurant above a brewery. They're known for their flights of beer, also their orange cream soda. They're proud to serve lots of Alberta beef burgers, steaks. OC Girl's interesting item here is the pasta carbonara with udon and boar bacon. This place is busy, so do make a reservation at a time if you want to eat here. Actually, as with a lot of restaurants in Banff, reservations, really useful. And the 8th thing to know before you go to Banff is about the wildlife. And there's a lot of wildlife in the park, great wildlife to view. Whatever wildlife you are viewing, make sure to keep a distance. Deer and elk are known to cross the roads, even bighorn sheep. So be careful when you're driving to not run into any wildlife. The one that you probably want to be aware of the most are bears. And so what you will often hear is that bears, they're great to see from your car, but probably not great if you sneak up on them. The best way to keep bears away is by making noises, so you don't want to surprise them. If you are talking as you're hiking, or if you're singing, singing is a great way to keep bears away. Princess, do you know any songs?
So happy, 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 going to Canada. I'm so happy, 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 I'm going to Canada. Papa!
All right, so in addition to singing to keep wildlife away, you will also want to keep your food out of sight and in like airtight containers. Even here on this table by a lake, they've got a sign to keep a bear-free day use area, particularly if you're camping. Keep all your food away out of the campsite. Keep your campsite clean to keep those bears away. And if you're really worried about it and you're going on some remote trails by yourself, then you might want to carry some bear spray. Now, not wildlife, but something else you should definitely be aware of, particularly if you're here when it's snowy, are avalanches. And we just witnessed an avalanche right now coming down the mountain on the other side of this lake. There's tons of signs that say beware of avalanches. They close trails because of it. So if you're here when it's snowy, definitely heed the warnings about the avalanche-prone trails and avoid those, because it looked like it would have hurt if all that snow landed on us. And the last thing to know is about all the things to do in Banff. And one of the quintessential things to do in Banff is ride a gondola to the top of one of the mountains. Now, the most popular and the most well-known gondola, the Banff gondola that we're on right here, that takes you up to Sulphur Mountain. There are also a couple other gondolas in Sunshine and in Lake Louise, so if this one doesn't work out, you can fit those in your schedule, but this is the one we took, and so we'll show you what's at the top of this gondola. Not just for skiing and snowboarding, but it's great in spring, summer, and fall too. So the primary attraction here at the top of the Banff gondola is the boardwalk. There's this wooden raised boardwalk built on top of the mountain that you can walk on for 20 or 30 minutes each way to get some views. Now, what do you get to see if you make it all the way to the end of the boardwalk? Well, you get up to the Cosmic Observatory viewpoint and you can see like 180-degree panorama. It is really beautiful up here. Well worth the hike. Really slippery today, so do wear good shoes if you're doing this when it's icy. Now, if you are planning to do the Banff gondola, you'll definitely want to buy your tickets ahead of time, particularly in the summer. They do sell out. You reserve an upload time, a time to go up the mountain. You reserve a download time, a time to go down the mountain. And if you're there at those times, you don't have to wait in line. You just go up and you go down. If you miss your times, then you wait in line, which it might be long. In the building, up above the floor you come in with the gondola, there's a museum that has like a movie theater. There are 2 restaurants in the building, one that's a buffet and one that's like table service. If you want to eat at either of those, do make a reservation ahead of time. They reserve on open table. And up at the top of the building, there's another observation deck, so make sure you don't miss that. Also, if you want to hike some more, well, you can take the gondola up here, you can hike all the way down, or you can do it the other way. You can hike up the mountain and take the gondola down. No, sightseeing gondola only, so no skiing or snowboarding or winter sports up here. If you want that, go to one of the other gondolas. You might say, how long do people spend up here? On average, people spend hour and a half up here, something like that. That's if they're not eating. If you are eating, then you might want to make it 2 or 2.5 hours. But if you want to avoid the crowds, come before noon or after 5. Remember, it does stay light very, very long, and so we came up at 7 o'clock, got right on, no waiting at all, and had the whole place pretty much to ourselves. Now, one of our favorite things that we did on the Banff trip is to take the Columbia Icefield adventure. This is actually Banff adjacent. It's in Banff National Park, just to the north on the Icefields Parkway. From about May until fall, you can take these really awesome Ice Explorer vehicles up here on top of a glacier. You can drink the water from the glacier melt. You can handle the glacier. And I mean, you can't, it's not a big area that you come on. You get up here for about 25 minutes on the glacier itself. You board buses down there at the Icefield Center. The bus takes you to one of these gigantic vehicles that brings you up here. And I don't know, I think it's pretty cool. Princess, what do you think about the glacier?
Fun.
Fun.
And cold.
And cold. If you're gonna do this though, definitely book ahead of time because the tickets do sell out. You can book a package. All the packages that come up to the glacier also go to the skywalk afterwards, allow about 2.5 hours, and you can get lunch at the Glacier Center, or breakfast, or dinner too. Oh, my hands are cold now. Now, one of our favorite things to do in Banff is definitely to hike, and so I'm going to share with you some of our favorite hiking trails in and around Banff. Now, I think one of the most unique hikes in Banff is Johnston Canyon. This is a very narrow slot canyon with a river running right down it, and this hike has 7 different waterfalls that you can see within Johnston Canyon. The first one is just a half-mile into the trail, or 1.1 kilometers. That's the lower falls. There's even like a tunnel you can go in, or a cave, to see it and get right up close. Super amazing. And this one gets really busy though. So this is one you definitely want to get here early, or perhaps take a shuttle to. You'll also find big restrooms. There's a coffee shop. There's even a cafe if you're hungry. The path, at least to the lower falls, is entirely paved, so pretty easy to get you to. And by the way, all of the hikes in this video, in this group, we've had a 4-year-old and a 70-year-old, so everything I talk about in this video is something you can do with all ages. And we made it to the end of the hike, and what's the best reward? Definitely some ice cream, even if it's freezing. And a great part about all the hiking trails around here, they're all really well signed. You can just look for these signs that'll tell you what the various hikes you can do here are, and then the forks in the hike are all well signed too, so you know how to get to the various different paths. Now, there's a lot of great hiking opportunities in and around the Banff Town Center. One that's pretty easy and rewarding is the Bow Falls Trail. You will find this right below the Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel. It's pretty flat, and you can walk along the river, and right in the middle, the cool spot is definitely the falls. And if you're not interested in doing really the hike and just see the falls, there is a big parking lot right next to it. So if canoeing or kayaking on a still lake is too tame for you, well, there are companies that'll take you out on whitewater rafting tours on the rivers here. There's a number of them, so just seek them out. Now, Banff has a lot of lakes, but the one you should definitely visit is Lake Louise right here. Lake Louise, in addition to the lake, is also the town, and it is the highest town in all of Canada at an elevation of about 1,700 meters or 5,600 feet. Now, the lake, not just a lake, a lot of great hiking paths around. In the summer, they've got canoes you can take out on the lake, and this is definitely one of the turquoise, blue, green lakes that's really amazing. I mean, you can see by all the people standing over there that it's a really popular viewpoint for people just to come and admire this big body of water. The lake is 2 kilometers long, 0.5 kilometer wide, and 70 meters deep. Now, if you do want to come to Lake Louise, the parking's really limited, so you'll likely have to take a shuttle. Again, do book those in advance. And if you're looking to eat, you'll find most of the food in the Fairmont Hotel in the lake area where you take your shuttles to, or there's also a bunch of food down in town in the Lake Louise village. Now, probably the second most popular lake is Moraine Lake. It is another turquoise, blue, green lake. Moraine Lake, you can only get there by shuttles, only by reservation. It has no parking, and it's only open in the summertime, which meant in May. When we were here, we weren't able to check it out, but I hope when you come, you can. Now in the Lake Louise area, there are 3 major hikes. The first hike, this one they call the Lakeshore Stroll. This one just goes on one side of Lake Louise. It's 2 kilometers each way. It's flat. You could totally take a stroller on this. The princess loves this one because it's easy, though in May time, the snow's melted, but there's still a lot of puddles, so you want to bring some waterproof shoes for this one. But probably the hike with the best view that we went on at Lake Louise is the Fairview Lookout hike. And the hike, it's about 1.2 kilometers, and it brings you to this lookout right here. High above the lake, you can see the Fairmont Chateau, Lake Louise behind. It is a pretty rewarding view. Now, in the summertime, you can do this as a loop. And if you look this way, you can see you can take it down this way, and it'll take you down where they have the canoe thing at the bottom, but not in the winter because that is much too steep. Again, this is one that if you do not in the winter, but in the spring where there's all this snow, you will definitely want your spikes. And then the third one, the most popular one, probably in the summer when all the snow is melted, is the Lake Agnes Trail. That one goes up on this side of the hill up to Mirror Lake and a tea house up there. If you are doing that one during snow time like today, then you will definitely want those crampons for your shoes, the spikes, because that one gets steep. Now, if you're hiking to the tea houses, also know that those aren't open all the time. They're just open in the height of summer, so make sure the tea house is open before you go hike to it. All right, so I ran into some fellow explorers, a Japanese dance troupe that was performing in front of the Fairmont Lake Louise here, and you know what? They've got a few tips for you if you come to Banff. So share with me your name and then share your tip.
Hi, my name is Isaac, and we're here at the Lake Louise, which is absolutely gorgeous. That's why he's staying here. But check out other lakes like Vermilion Lake, where there's a way you can drive down close to the lake, and when the lake is so still, you can see the entire reflection of the mountains. It's gorgeous.
Awesome, great tip. Tip number 2.
Hi, my name is Chinatsu. I recommend to visit to Lulu's to have brunch. Yeah, it's good for breakfast and also lunch. Then I had kind of jambalaya, Cajun food. It was so great. You should try it.
2 Lulus in Canmore. Very good. Tip number 3.
Hi, my name is Anaí. I'm from Ecuador. And the tip I have for you is you definitely should visit Canmore in your trip to Banff because you are going to enjoy so much the mountain views Canmore has around the city, like around the hometown. It's just amazing. I don't know, all of the way around Canmore it's with mountains. So if you really like snow mountains as me, please visit Canmore.
Awesome. And should people dress warm when they come here in May? Dress warm, it's cold?
Not so much. It depends on the day. We just today catch up a really nice weather day. Like I was even with a short sleeve t-shirt and it was okay.
All right, final tip.
Hi, my name is Brandon and we visited neighboring Canmore. And so a friend recommended a place called Community and have beautiful breakfasts and lattes. So I actually had a maple latte this morning and it tasted amazing. So I'd really recommend that.
All right, well, thank you very much. And if you want to check out more of their Japanese traditional dances, I'll put a link in the description below to their channel. Thanks so much. Hey. Speaking of Emerald Lake, thanks for the tip. Yes, in fact, it is a really great lake to visit. While we were here, Lake Moraine was all icy, but you can see Emerald Lake is thawed out when many of the other lakes are not. Emerald Lake, much less touristy than Lake Louise, and there's a neat little lodge that's here, the Emerald Lake Lodge. There's also hiking paths around the river, but overall this one just has a nice peaceful feel and truly an emerald color. Oh, there's boats you can take out on the lake at this one as well. Oh, as we were walking around this lodge, we haven't actually stayed here, but it feels like the one con is you can't park anywhere nearby. Like the overnight parking is like a half mile down the road, and this is a pretty long walk with your luggage to your room. Oh, and although this is a guide all about Banff, Emerald Lake is technically in the neighboring national park of Yoho National Park from Lake Louise. It's about a 40-minute drive to get here. And you'll definitely have no cell phone coverage at this lake. There's also a lot of great hikes in and around Canmore. One of the most famous and easiest is this one. This is the Engine Bridge Loop. It's about a 30-minute trail. It's all relatively flat, beautiful views of the river down below and the mountains in the back. And so, since this one is kid-friendly, Princess, what do you think of this trail? All right, this one is Curious Princess approved.
Approved.
And if you are planning to hike around Canmore, you should know that you need to get a Kananaskis conservation pass to park or just stop in many of the parking lots around. You buy it online, they've got links on the sign, but you'll need to make sure you actually have cell phone service where you're going. You can certainly buy it ahead of time. Basically what you do is you just register your license plate for the day. There's no tickets or printed things, pretty easy, but make sure you do it when you have cell phone service. So something you'll see on every thing to-do list about Banff is visiting the Upper Hot Springs, which is this pool that you see down below me. It looks like a swimming pool and it's filled with natural hot spring water, so they say. Admission is somewhere north of $15 per adult, and we got here and it was really busy and decided we didn't want to be cooking like soup with all the people down there. And it smells like chlorine, and so we decided to pass, but no, that'll be on the list of everything else you see to do. If there's somebody who thinks I'm wrong, like you love this place, let me know, but I don't think I love it with 200 of my closest friends in a small pond. But if you're hungry or thirsty, there is a nice cafe up on the 3rd floor of the Hot Springs Admission Building. Now, if you want to learn all about the hot springs here in Banff, but you don't want to go in them, then come to the Cave and Basin Historic Site. This is a museum all about the hot spring history in Banff. In particular, other than this hot spring right here, there's the original hot spring that was discovered and is really what started this national park. You can go into it. It's in a little bit of a cave, and you can learn just about history and things like that of the area here, how the park was established. And if you take the guided tour, then they'll even let you put your hand in this water. They generally don't because there's some endangered snails that live in the water now here at this museum, but they take the water out of a bucket and let you put your hand in it. And yes, my hand feels 5 years younger. This is a separate admission fee if you don't already have a national park pass, but if you do have a national park pass, just show that and that'll get you in here. If you enjoy suspension bridges, then you'll enjoy a visit to the Golden Sky Bridge. This is an hour west of Lake Louise driving, and it's a adventure eco park. The primary attraction is 2 of these sky bridges. They are the highest in Canada. If you stack 21 houses from the bottom of this canyon to the top, you'll get up to the Sky Bridge. The admission to come into the park to do the trails and things like that and cross the bridges is $45 for adults if you buy it ahead of time online. If you buy it in person, it's going to cost you a little bit more. And there's a whole bunch of other activities to do here. We really enjoyed the Alpine Mountain Coaster. It was an extra $25 to do that, but we got 2 rides and that was pretty awesome. There's also zip lines and canyon swings for those that are more adventuresome. I think you got things that are fun here for all ages. And you know what, I've even seen some strollers pushing around here. So I think if you've got kids, this is a great attraction for them too. And you'll find food that you can eat on site as well. Not the cheapest, but in a pinch if you're hungry, it'll do. And the last thing you need to know is that I've got more videos. If you're flying into Calgary, you might enjoy my video all about everything to do and know about Calgary. If you're gonna be staying at some of the hotels, the Fairmonts, things like that, the afternoon tea, we have more of those videos. Links also in the description below. As usual, I won't say goodbye because I'll see you in one of those.